This is Edwin Desamour from the new hit talk show The Wall. You are listening to Usla Radio. What's up, everybody? This is Edwin Desamour, and you're listening to The Wall, where we witness achievements through life lessons, only on Usla Radio. I'm going to jump right into this topic today in the intro because an hour is never enough with us. Am I right? Mm-hmm. I got it. Mm-hmm. So, on The Wall this week, we are talking about our guarantee rights as American citizens and how free we really are. As citizens, we are born free, but even in our freedoms have limitations. Are we really free in the United States? If so, when does the exercise of our freedoms cause harm? Remember that the end of the show should be the beginning of your conversation. Don't be afraid to tear down the wall. So I'm going to jump right into a random question to get you guys loosened up a little bit. Would you rather be able to read everyone's mind or be able to find all of your lost stuff? Why?
All of my lost stuff.
Same.
I don't want to read people's minds.
Like, as much as, like, I probably don't even want any of my lost stuff, reading in people's minds is, like,
that's scary.
There's a plus, but I ain't trying to see what people think. Because, like, honestly, people would be better not knowing what other people thought of them.
So, you choose getting your lost stuff?
Mm-hmm. Man, I got a lot of lost stuff, but I ain't... Okay. Actually, yeah.
What about you, Genesette?
I got all my lost money back.
Oh, you lost money? Oh, wow.
You lost money?
Yeah.
How much money have you?
I don't know. It's a lot.
$100, $50, $25.
That's a type of flex. You see, she lost money and she ain't even know the amount she lost.
Okay?
And she doesn't even know how much, but she says a lot.
That's
not
a flex.
You can bank, girl.
What was your reaction?
What?
What was your reaction? Like, when you lost the money, when you realized you lost it, how'd you, like, react?
What's it called? I lost, like, $50. Whenever I was going to my friend, like, she has this, like, cabin area. And it was, like, 11 p.m. And I was, like, looking all over for it and I couldn't find it.
Girl, she's not your friend. She stole your money. She's not your friend.
No. This guy, we were on the golf cart and it fell out of my pocket.
It was the setup. when you wasn't paying attention, she did the little behind the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You really set yourself up now.
Oh,
because,
nice to see you.
But you really set yourself up now because everybody who's listening or who's going to watch the show is like, let's follow her around. Mm-hmm. She loses money.
Where's the studio?
She loses a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you ever lost money in the studio?
No.
No? Okay. Question. All right. Lorena, you picking out the rebinds?
I don't want to read mine.
You don't want to read mine?
Nope.
It's bad enough. It's irritating when you look at someone's facial expression, right?
Mm-hmm. I feel like the mind is just a scary place that I don't even want to know about what everyone else is thinking. Like, not even just about me, just about, like, the world in general. Like, everyone, I feel like everyone censors their thoughts when they're speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if you're saying one thing, I want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to hear what you're thinking.
If you have something to say it.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody would be better off without hearing what somebody thinks of them because, let's be honest, if we all said what we were thinking, everybody would be racist, everybody would be homophobic, everybody would be, because the mind could do stuff without you even wanting to do it. We can't even lie on that. The time, like, you could pray to God and all this in your mind, be like, no! You know what I mean?
Uh-oh.
You know what I mean? Like, that happens. That happens. You know it happens.
Yeah.
The mind just be an evil place. So if we were to read minds...
Are you guys laughing at them or you agreeing with them?
I'm agreeing.
You agreeing with them? Okay.
People, the mind just... It be playing games with you on the other side.
So you argue with your mind like that? No.
Yes. Because, like,
really?
You can be like, oh my God, that person's not... Like, the person can be nice to you and then be like, oh, they're ugly. And then it's like, no, that's mean. And then they're like, no, they're weird. You know, it's like the mind it has like
so
all...
exposed right
a mind is a vault of all these different thoughts that we plan not to let out. So we just let it go loose in our minds even though we don't want it to. So if we were able to read minds, you would see that everybody could be racist, everybody could be homophobic, everybody could be all these different type of things, but it's all on the inside.
Wow. Pretty interesting.
Because you talk to God, I talked to God before, and then my mom say something dumb. My mom...
All right.
Who is God?
Yeah. All right. Weekly update. Don't censor. Stop hoaxes. Facebook, Twitter face a catch 22. Misinformation can lead to dangerous consequences. Example: the plan that spread on social media to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The plan spread because of access to the information on social media. Misinformation can lead to violent behavior if people believe it and choose to act. Recently, Twitter and Facebook introduced a range of policies to stop the spread of misinformation. This has led to bans on certain posts or disclaimers that posts could be misinformation. One of the bans was on a news article that portrayed emails, text messages, and photographs of Hunter Biden, son of Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden, allegedly making deals with Russian companies to give money and meet Joe during the time when he was vice president of the United States. People against this ban have claimed that Twitter and Facebook are actively interfering in the election. Twitter and Facebook have claimed that it was an unverified story. All right. So here's the question: we have the freedom of speech, but are we really free if someone else gets to decide what we can and cannot read or say?
Hmm. People, I feel like when you watch like random videos and it's like people getting pulled over the cops, I was like, sorry, I thought this was America, and it's like this is the closest thing you're getting. This is the closest thing you're getting to. How do I say this? This is one of the freest places. I'm being honest. If I'm being honest, out there the Taliban's not letting a woman read and go to school, kidnapping children.
Or can't even drive. I
Okay,
believe in
exactly.
certain.
Or stay in the house. They're not even allowed to go outside the house or show their faces.
Yeah, they have a curfew.
People are lucky. People, why do you think people come to America for? They have the right of religion. We don't have any national language. People do what they can here. Even though it may not seem like it's a lot, this is the closest thing you're getting to by being free.
Mm.
And like, even
Can
though
you repeat the question?
All right. We have the freedom of speech, but are we really free if someone else gets to decide what we can and cannot read or say?
no,
It's a tough one.
because I mean, at the same time, we're free to do whatever we want. It's just, it's like other people putting limits on what we.
I feel like there's layers to that question because by putting bans on things that we can and can't read
Give me a situation.
because of misinformation, what that like yes, technically that's like I guess yeah, if you're thinking about like on the very like surface level that is kind of violating our rights, but that's so that people don't believe that misinformation and don't take that out of context.
Like,
Yeah, because it could be dangerous when you think about for example, the examples that I put out there. Misinformation can lead to violent behavior if people believe it to be believe it and choose to act.
Yeah.
Example, these folks planned to kidnap a governor. Did y'all know about that? Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, the FBI busted a few guys. They made some arrests because these guys were planning to kidnap a governor through misinformation that was fed, something like that. So it's pretty deep. I don't know. It can be layers to this. It depends on what you think about it. But then it's kind of like, do we all have to walk on eggshells because other people can't handle certain information? It's
Yeah.
kind of like if you have children in the house and you decide who's going to hear what because the other kid can't handle the information. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Or when you hear adults say you kids have to leave the room, we have to have a discussion. You can't hear this. Yeah, I hate
Oh
that,
my
don't
gosh, I hate
Oh,
that.
I listen anyway.
you?
I said right. I found a way to listen, but like I hate that.
Yeah, but do you believe there's a reason for that? Do they believe you will not be able to handle that information?
I feel like I think about this so often. I feel like generations before, like Gen Z specifically, just thinks that we're that we're the normal like sensitive teenagers. I'm not sensitive. Like we're smart. We can handle things. We've been able we we've been able to handle and tackle things that generations before us just let it slide, and we've been able to fight against that. So I can't speak for like any other generation, but I know that for like Gen Zers, we can handle tough stuff. We've been handling it since the beginning.
Okay.
We get thrown a lot of shade too.
Mhm.
We get thrown for being. When people think of Gen Z, they think of the dumb little kids, the
They don't
the
know what they're talking
the
about.
weirdo. Yeah, exactly. The weirdo kids that don't know anything about what's going on. But to be honest, we're the realest people right now. We're the ones who actually are starting something. We're the people who are actually making a change. Like, all right, when were you when you were making a change? Yeah, we may be Gen Z, but we sure done got a lot accomplished during the decade we was alive, during the generation that we now live in.
But does that mean you cancel out the folks that made things happen before you?
Absolutely
No.
not. Absolutely not. We're not saying that we did. We're the only people who did stuff. Because obviously there was many of people who did stuff before us.
Yeah,
MLK.
we're saying that we're not young and dumb.
Okay.
This we're
No, I believe that. I believe
Yeah.
young people are very intelligent. I think that people underestimate how intelligent young people
Hmm.
can be. But at the same time, young folks still, I feel as though, and this is just my opinion, still need to be guided. You know, remember your brain
Oh,
is still
yeah.
being,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Developed.
You know, and but it doesn't mean that young people are dumb. It just means that we need to help guide them in figuring
Mhm.
things out. Because young people sometimes can turn around and say and feel as though they know everything, and sometimes that hurts us as adults to look at young folks and like, listen, been there, done that. I've been around young folks who tell me I know what I'm doing. I've been there. And then it's difficult to sit back and watch someone fall on their face when things happen. You're like, wow. But then sometimes they have to experience it. Some people could learn by listening, and some people can. Some people have to learn by feeling it,
Learn the hard way.
learn the hard way. All right. Ethical dilemmas is next up on the
You
wall.
heard that, Snap?
Does a person's name influence who they become? Why or why not?
Define name.
Their name. Your name.
Like
Arena.
our
Like influence who
Right.
they become. Because when
Yeah.
I think of name, I think of like title and power.
what are you talking? Like, are you talking
Like
ranking in society, or are you talking?
Does a person's name influence who they become? Why or why not? Your name. Does it influence who you become?
genocide?
Like for example, I don't know if you know. For example, I might be a little off here, but y'all heard of Charlie Sheen before, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
That's not his real name.
Isn't it?
His,
I
his
see
real
what you
name is
mean.
Carlos Estevez, right? Yeah.
Are you
I
talking
think
about
I
how
heard
like
of it.
rappers?
No, I'm not talking about rappers. I'm talking about
I think I
there
heard that.
there are folks that come into Hollywood and stuff, and they feel as though
They need to change their name.
they need to change their name.
Like kind of like how, let's say, a black person gets casted in a movie, but they change that person into a white person because that's the more popular opinion. Is that kind of like
You lost me there.
no,
Yeah, I don't know. What
no? Okay, so listen, I get what you mean. Like I feel like names can have a big play in a lot of stuff, which now I'm picking up on because I get what you mean. A lot of people change their names.
I
A
think
lot
I
of,
get it now.
you get what I mean?
No, not you.
Not
I'm talking about us.
But I was trying to relate it to like people change their names who are more popular.
To assimilate.
Exactly, because I feel like people growing up with these certain things or certain things that they've been around, it's more comfortable to them or more appealing. I guess you know what I mean. Like something they've been with, and so they already know that. You feel? And so.
But then again, it could be many
Wait,
different
man,
things.
wait, man.
Okay.
Look,
Because you're losing us right now.
no, cause look,
I'm just saying, bro.
cause look, I'm trying to relate it to like people who try to be somebody that they're not to, like trying to be somebody that you're not, so you could be more popular. Kind of like a little middle schooler trying to act like somebody that they're not, like how you act at school versus how you act at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to get at?
It could be many different things. Like, for example, Garcia, right? It holds weight because of your father.
Mhm.
I think it plays a big part in influencing where you at because your father put a lot of value in that name. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can answer. I have an answer to your question.
Go ahead.
I say yes. From personal experience, my name is Lorena, and a lot of people call me Lorena.
Okay.
And I feel like when I was younger, I didn't understand how wrong it was for me to let people call me Lorena because it's not my name. You know what I mean? Because everyone else in my immediate family, like my siblings and my parents, they have American names, right? My dad's name is Joe, Christina, Joseph, Diana. I'm Lorena. My name is in Spanish versus everyone else. Everyone's name is in English, whatever. Um, the poem. Remember the poem
Yeah.
that I about the white girl calling me Becky? That was the first time that like my sis that like I told my family about someone like not calling me by my name because of the fact that they didn't know how to pronounce it. And my sister came right at me telling me like you are not to let anyone call you what she said. She was like you can't let anyone not call you by your name because that's not your name. No, no, no. And I didn't understand that was a problem. And now it's like I don't let that slide anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's like when
Well, I mean, you don't have to agree with it. I mean, it's not trying to answer the question, but does a person's name influence who they become? Like I believe so. Like for example,
Like-
my youngest son, I named him Leo Wachor. A lot of people are like, what the hell did you name your son? Some folks see if I could read your minds, y'all like, and you like, yeah, that sounds cute, but in my mind, like Leo Wachor, right? But he was someone. A freedom fighter. He liberated the slaves in Haiti. Le Voutron means he who creates an opening. So I felt as though that was a very powerful name, and I wanted him to take that name on. Even though I messed him up by giving him the nickname Chicken Hawk. So I call him Chicken Hawk. But yeah, it's pretty
Like,
interesting.
you mean like, let's say, give me somebody famous's name that has a child.
that has a child.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Let's say somebody famous has a child,
Well,
and you hear that name of the last name to that famous person, you're like, wait a minute,
yeah.
you're
Like
so
Drake. Like
exact
Drake and
Drake's
his son.
Drake's son, though, he has a lot of clout because of how his father built on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there's some young people, and when they're older now, that change their names because they don't want to live or they want to earn their way
Yeah.
into whatever it is, whether it's Hollywood or something, because they didn't like say if you're son of a famous actress or actor, some folks change their name because they don't want nobody giving them the opportunity just because of their parent. They want to feel as though I earned that spot,
Mhm.
you know. So that kind of like And speaking of Charlie Sheen, his father's name was Martin Sheen, but his real father's name is Carlos Estevez also. But his little brother Emilio Estevez, nobody knew they were brothers, kept his name. He never changed his name. He kept his name Emilio Estevez, and Charlie Carlos decided to change it to Carlos Estevez. So it's just pretty interesting on it. Anyway, and Emilio still made it big. Emilio Estevez still made it big with his name. He decided to keep his name. All right, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we're going to jump right into the nitty gritty, the real topic of today. Stay tuned. We're listening to The Wall, only on USLA Radio.
I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. And even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, Maria, and she convinced me to continue my education. Just never judges. She's a true role model.
From the depths of my heart, I thank you, Maria, for being a friend and a beautiful person. No one receives a diploma alone, and I'm honored to share this moment with you. Thank you.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Edwin Desamour, and you're listening to The Wall, only on USLA Radio. We're going to jump right into the topic of the day. We had a police incident in West Philadelphia this week. One result of the incident was a protest downtown in front of a police station. During this protest, people started throwing bricks and others projectiles at the police. At what point does the protest end and the riots begin?
When the same thing happens again. Because I'm gonna be honest, you barely see protests on the news, right? Only when there's herds of them. But when a riot, when a cop's car gets burned, or if a cop car's window gets broken, there all of a sudden the news is flashing. We don't get attention with peaceful stuff when we try to stay peaceful.
But are you saying people are not peacefully protesting? What if the news is just not covering?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are, but they not listening. Where on the news are you seeing the peaceful protest? Why? Because the news doesn't care about people sitting down with the signs and what we are actually trying to say. They once they hear a black man gets shot 14 times, and then riots happen all over Philadelphia. That's when everything starts flashing.
The news loves an interesting story.
Exactly. When did your Instagram feed? When did you see all like that one peaceful protest all in your feed? No. But once some of these riots happen, you see
Once
it.
you see it,
But
once
do
you hear
we
about the
do we
looting and the
do we
fire.
play a big part of that because we tune in when we see that type of violence? You know, if you had the choice to look at two different screens where you have someone peacefully protesting and then you see some chaos going on, for some reason, our attention is going to be directed at what's going on. You know, before we even get into this is pretty deep because it's a touchy time right now in Philadelphia
I mean, like,
and you know in the nation, but you know what's going on and what happened. Um, you know, and it's a sad situation all the way around, and it's tragic what happened to the young man that was killed, and I think it also was tragic for the police officers involved. You know, a lot went wrong that day, and I have my opinion on that. You know, a lot went wrong that day for everyone, the system, the community, everyone was kind of at fault that day. You know, but I kind of like feel sorry for almost everybody involved because that day was kind of, and we still don't know all the facts of what really went down, even though we saw one side of the camera. But
there was story. I mean, I could give the best info I got.
yeah, no, I understand what you get, but what I'm saying is, right, there's ways to deal with that, and we have to address the issue between community and police relations, and there's a way of going about that, and there's a way of moving forward to do that. But at the same time, and this is just me, and then again, there's a side that I know a lot of folks in this community. You know, I know folks who move out, who attend meetings, who talk about legislation and trying to make things happen. But then you got folks that wait for an incident like this to happen. You know, robbing a scooter store, stealing the dirt bikes and the scooters does not help the family. Robbing the pharmacy down the block. And now we have a community who have family members who are ill that depend on medicine, that depend on the things that they need to stay alive or to keep their babies healthy or to keep their elderly healthy. But folks are destroying the pharmacies and running into, you know,
Black-owned businesses. Black-owned businesses.
Folks were actually folks were actually getting on the L in the bus stops, and this was a gathering through social media to head down to Aramingo to go into these stores. Now, if you were to ask most of them that were involved with that, they couldn't even tell you the name of the person who passed away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so what's scary about that situation is that it takes away from what the incident, it takes away from what really happened, because all people are talking about now is the looting, because everybody's angry now. Believe it or not, and people fail to realize people in the community are angry about the looting also. They're like, oh my God, here we go with this again. They're angry about what happened, but now the looting takes away from everything, and no one's talking about what actually happened.
A lot of people are more worried about the looting and about the
Yes.
vandalism than they are about Walter.
Yeah, when you start setting cars on fire in neighborhoods, which you're jeopardizing families because that car could easily, you know, you could another car could explode and have another car catch on fire, then a home, and then you got families that are caught up in these row homes. And also, you have some of our businesses. There's people that I know personally who came from the neighborhood, grew up in the neighborhood, who opened up their business because they wanted to contribute back, and their business was destroyed. Their business was destroyed for the second time. You know, uh, for a community that they believe in, they did not wrong. This is a community that some of the business owners that I did speak to said, "Hey, you know, I gave credit out to folks. I knew times were hard out here where people needed to get bread or Pampers. I did all this, and this is what happened to me. You know, when do we, as a community, also draw attention to that? You know, as a community, start holding people accountable for that. Also, we, the same way we got to hold people accountable for what happened in this incident. How do we sit back and heal? Because right now, there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of hatred. A lot of people confused. It's just so much going on, and then at the same time, you know, um, this incident was tragic. It was tragic all the way around. You know, on both sides, tragic on both sides. Um, Moving forward, we should be looking for answers. How do we resolve this? You know, uh, how do we protect everyone, the community and our officers? You know, but just wanted to speak on that real quick. But here I have the First Amendment protects the following freedoms: speech, religion, press assembly, and the right to petition government. These rights are guaranteed to the moment we are born. The key to the freedom of assembly is the word peaceable, right? The amendment states that we have the right of a people to peaceably assemble. The moment the situation becomes a threat to safety, we have lost that right. What is the difference between a peaceful protest and what is happening now?
Well, first of all, peaceful protests get no recognition until the riots, but they do. The riots get so much attention. You understand once that happened? You understand my Instagram feed?
Is first of all, I'm gonna ask this question: is looting protesting?
No,
Mm-mm,
nah.
not even. Not
They
even
want
a
to
little bit.
take somebody's name.
All right, I want to. As for the young folks here, how do you feel about the looting that's going on? How do you feel about that? Because I think there are some people thinking young people are approving of this, and I've met a lot of young people who are against this.
I hate it. Honestly, it's so dumb. If I was to die, would that give you the excuse to go rob stores? Would that give you the excuse to go raid black-owned businesses?
Yes.
What
It's the
what
mom
like
and
that's
pop
the
stores
dumbest
that are
thing ever. People are taking somebody's name and using it for other things. So when the news gets on it, to be like, because this man died, now it started up a bunch of people stealing stuff.
right, and then
That's
what
not.
makes that's
He
what makes the
doesn't
movement
deserve
look
to go
bad.
out like that. He was a mentally challenged man.
Hmm.
What happened was his mom called 911 for help.
He was having a mental health
He was
crisis.
having a mental health
And the
crisis. They
police
sent the
showed up.
cops. He had a knife.
Butter
They have the
knife.
tools to deal with that. 14 shots to him. 14. Dead. That's it. They had tasers.
I also want to bring this up. During the looting last night, right? Nobody's talking about this either. All right, Temple Hospital had 12-hour shifts. In 12 hours, 14 shootings, right? 14 shooting victims. 4 of them were homicides. All right, St. Chris Hospital had 2 shooting victims, one 15-year-old and one 18-year-old.
I heard about the 15-year-old.
Right, during the looting, we reached over 400 deaths in Philadelphia. And I've been speaking about this type of stuff
I heard
the
about
past
that
few
too.
shows. Remember, I spoke about it a few weeks ago when we were at 350 or 330, and that was still too much. It's kind of like, does it matter who kills us for us to be angry?
I feel like a death is a death, but it feels like these deaths are excused. I get it that all deaths are deaths. I get that. Everybody deserves life. I get that. But what it seems like you don't understand is that these are people of one race that are getting almost targeted, basically.
Mm-hmm.
15-year-olds are not getting targeted, I'll tell you that. I'm gonna tell you that. Like, honestly, yeah, their life matters, but they're not getting targeted. It's just people who don't care that they're who they're killing. But black people of this one race are getting targeted by these certain people for racism. Like, I understand that that's.
I think I don't want to jump too much into that because it still a lot has to come out with that. But I like I said, it was a tragic accident. A tragic incident. But at the same time, you have. And I looked at these police officers. These guys were young. They were young, and when you put out there, when you're uh, 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 it's already difficult working in certain neighborhoods. I come from here, and when I'm working and walking in the neighborhood, sometimes my stress level is at high because of everything that's going on around, especially with the violence. Police officers are human also. I'm not talking about the races or what I'm talking about. Just police officers in general. It is very difficult to work in these neighborhoods, and you're stressed out, especially if you were never raised in it. And then you get, then you get, yeah. But then, at the same time, I know police officers who were raised here are still on stress, suffering from depression, thoughts of suicide, who come from the neighborhood. And you got people. You don't even have to be a police officer to have all this stuff because you've been exposed to it. And now you come back and try to save and work and help people, and then you walk into an incident where you see folks running around from the guy with a knife. They're trying everything they can, running around from it. Stress levels are high. Someone's coming towards you. Yeah, you could have went for this. There's a lot of situations that we could have said we could have done this, we could have done that.
But they were trained to handle those type of situations.
And even if they weren't, that's the system's fault. For
That's
not
Yeah,
training them.
they were not. They're actually trained to kill.
That's the problem.
And self-defense. Yeah, that is a problem. But to take it out on these cops, we need to change the system how cops are trained.
Mm-hmm.
But to take it out on at the same time, they didn't know this guy's background, but he does have a heavy, and it's not justifying what happened to him, a heavy track record of violence. He punched his mother in the face. She had a restraining order on him. He broke it, was arrested. He went in the house, put a gun to a woman's head before. His rap sheet is to the point is so long, but it's all violence. The reason I'm bringing this up, and I'm not talking about the shooting, because it was like, how was it that we failed him as a society to keep letting him back out? Because he did one of his convictions was gun violence. He only did like 11 months for it. But it's not about doing time. How can, when we had him arrested, when he was arrested, why we didn't give him the treatment he needed to get? If you understand where I'm coming from, because he kept having violent. This was a buildup. He already did time for punching a cop in the face. He did time a couple. You can look it up. It's just all in there. But what I'm saying is, the reason I'm not bringing this up justifying the shooting, but I'm bringing this up is that what could have we done to help him before it boiled down to this? And then the neighborhood. At first when you listen to the video, folks were joking around. They thought it was funny that this dude was running around with a knife towards police officers. You could hear the guy on the video. But then as soon as the gunfire shoots off, then it's not funny. Then you got everyone running towards the situation. This is why I say everyone's at fault here too, because where was the community at? They could have all stepped in and said, hey, officer, we have him. We know him. He has these issues. Let us try to restrain him and put him down, or save him from hurting his mom or himself. But as soon as this happens, it's just a tragedy all around. I mean, everything, It's something that should never happen, period. He should never been put in that position. He should never got killed. The police officer should never been put in that position. Nope. It was just a bigger picture to this, and we need to really flush this out to see how can we prevent something like this from happening, and how can we even say for example, even have someone who's professionally trained to deal with de-escalation. When you get a call like that, have someone come out. So there's so many ways, but when we take away from that and then we start paying mind to the looting and everything that's going on, it's hard to get back to these talks because everybody's just angry now and everybody's just spewing hate. You know, again, I really feel hurt for everyone that was involved with that. Everyone. I mean, his mother had to witness her son getting killed. She probably wasn't even, and I don't even know, like equipped to handle with his mental health through the years because what was going on. He probably never got the help that he needed. And then you have young officers coming on scene not really knowing how to handle that situation. It was something tragic all the way around. Something tragic all the way around that could have been prevented. And we should be at the table saying, how can we prevent something like this from happening again? How can we deal with that? But it's hard to have that type of discussion when folks just want to destroy the neighborhood. And right now, those talks can't happen right now. And what I'm angry about is that we have families right now that need medication, they need medicine, they can't get to the pharmacy right now. Now they got to figure out where they're going to go, how to call it in to help a baby that suffers from asthma or an elderly person that needs medicine. And then our bodegas who got destroyed, vandalized, like folks who depend on going down to the store, to the corner store, and then those folks have families they got to take care of. They're not on the level of Target where Target could fend for themselves. Target could turn around and say, "Well, we could take that L. We could take that loss." But a lot of our bodegas can't take that.
I feel like that's one of the most like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like I feel like when I heard about people like looting the mom and pop stores, it's like what even are your intentions anymore? Because you're talking about how you're doing this for his sake and you're doing this for justice. No, you're not.
What did they do?
Huh?
They didn't kill him. I'm following up on you. I said they didn't kill him. Just so you know, it's like, my bad I interrupt you, but it's so dumb. I hate that stuff.
And then I want to get back to our city. We're over 400 murders. 400 homicides.
Just this year alone, 400 homicides this year alone.
Just year, and this year's not even done.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the anger at? That's where I'm frustrated. Where's the anger? Because right now, like I said, I lost my oldest son to a motorcycle accident, but I have my next son that's the oldest. He's 20 years old. He goes to work. He works night shift. And my biggest fear is him going to the bus stop because I got to worry about him getting stuck up. I got to worry about somebody trying to take his phone or pulling out a gun in the middle of the night or around 9 o'clock when he goes, or any time during the day. Like, I gotta be stressed out over that. We shouldn't be as parents. We shouldn't be as people living in our communities. And why are we not feeling angry? Because I'm paying attention to the numbers, and I'm paying attention to what's going on. We need to take a look at ourselves and see where we're headed.
I feel like my question is, how do we stop that? How do we bring that down?
It's about value. I think.
Value of what?
Yourself as a people. And a lot of times, a lot of this is mentality. It's mentality. Like, folks are making certain choices and feeling though they have to be a certain way or act a certain way. If you don't care about yourself, you sure is not going to care about the next person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a scary thing. So, if folks know me as an advocate and working with young people out there, I always focus on building that young person's self-esteem up and allowing them to understand that they have value, they are important. And once you get someone to understand that, you don't have to worry about them putting a gun in their hand. You don't have to worry because they say, "Man, I'm not going to destroy my life that way." Does that make sense what I'm saying? And it's just about, we need to start, and parenting. We got to hold folks accountable. Like, right, there's a curfew. I don't know if you know, they just announced there's a curfew. There's a 9 o'clock curfew tonight. But yesterday, I really don't try to get into it on social media, but I wanted to say, parents, do you know where your kids at? Do you know where your kid's at right now? Do you believe them? Because right now, you know, there's a bunch of looting and all this stuff going on. Did any parents decide to say, you know what, where is my child right now? Because there's a lot going on,
That all of us ought to be worried
you know,
about.
and nobody wants to touch on that topic, but I think we're at a point, and hopefully in another show. But when do we start holding parents accountable? Because we blame everyone. Well, we don't got enough gyms. We don't got enough programs. We don't got enough this. We don't got enough that. Okay, we hear you, and I do understand that. But what part does the parent play? You
I
know?
feel like the parent plays a role in your child desiring help.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of our generation, you know, while we are like really smart and we are really aware, a lot of us feel like we're the big dogs, and a lot of us feel like we know everything and we can handle everything ourselves. But so we don't want help,
Mm-hmm.
or it's either we don't want help or we want help but we don't want to ask for it, or we want help and we don't know how to get it, and it's like
And you know, we're better than this. And to be honest with you, this seems very tragic to a lot of people. What's going on? Like, this is like people. We're in America. This is how spoiled we are. When you talk about the land of the free, this is how spoiled we are. We are stressed out. Some people actually think it's the end of the world, right? Because they see some looting and coronavirus. But outside of America, people are living under bombs. You know, people are living under crazy conditions. They've been living like this since the day they were born. It's been going on for generations. Right? People live with this type of stuff. But the minute we're touched with any type of
adversity.
diversity, is, oh my God, what's going on? We need to step to the plate and make sure we keep that. So I want to say this quote by Abraham Lincoln. And with that, America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroy ourselves. Think about that. Are we fighting for the right things, or have we lost sight of what we really are fighting for? When people do things they shouldn't do, there are consequences. What if we are really fighting against justified consequences and not, as we thought, for the multitude of social justice issues coming up right now? Thank you for listening to Today on the Wall, and this is Usal Radio. Have a great week. This is Edwin Desamour.